Hi, my name is Nathan, and today we're going to do a comic book review of Spawn, issue number 324, brought to you by RatedComics. Let's get to it. We begin this issue with goblins being massacred and knives, swords, bloody, gory, just this beautiful, beautiful mess that we could just admire real quick. It's Mark, Medieval Spawn. When he goes into this transforming into Medieval Spawn, he doesn't know what happens to him. It's like for weeks now, Mark has been trying to figure out where he goes when his medieval persona takes place. Every time he transfers back to himself, it's like a sense of like dark memory screaming void. Like he strains to hold on to his memory in his mind, but within seconds when he transforms back, that memory is gone. Then we hear a voice saying, "It's not easy, is it, Mark?" And it's Jim, and I don't know who Jim is, but this goes back to way back in issue number 312. And Jim comes over there, talks to Mark, is like, "Hey bro, it looks like you ain't the only one gripping with this madness." And Mark's like, "Okay, well how did you find me exactly?" It doesn't matter how. What matters is we need to get out of here and talk about a few things. So they go to a nearby diner. Jim tells Mark there's been agendas from both sides after me pretty much since I woke up. So for the most part, I've been trying to stay ahead of him and stay alive. And how's things going with Spawn? And Mark's like, you know, I get a lot of lectures of Spawn and all this kind of stuff. It's kind of like he's on this self-righteous path or whatnot. So Jim asks him, well, tell me about the hell what's been going on with that. So Mark tells him it's been a couple months since I've been messing around with this helmet and it's kind of attached itself to me. I try to get rid of it a few times, but it just keeps reappearing. And to be perfectly honest, I'm kind of losing my self-control with this just a little bit. So Jim asks Mark a question. "Can I ask you something? Do you trust Al?" He's like, "What do you mean? It's not a trick question. I mean, do you trust him?" I mean, yeah, we both know he's not exactly the most stable guy, but I do trust him. Yes and no. The reason I asked is because you don't know if he realizes it or just doesn't care, but either way, he's on the verge of bringing down the whole world with him. He's always thinking about saving humanity, but he's turned the planet into his personal war zone. He ripped the a-hole in time, for freak's sake, and you think he'll stop by now. Wonder if Spawn is actually doing more good than harm. Actually, sorry, if Spawn's doing more harm than good. Correction. Mark's like, "What, you want me to like backstab Spawn and go rogue?" That's not what I'm saying. I just want to make sure our enemies are number one target. And it's to the point where if Spawn wants to win this war, he has to consider allying up, like joining forces. And Mark said that's exactly what me and Jessica, Spawn, were trying to do. We're trying to convince him the value of bringing an army so he doesn't have to do these missions himself. And then all of a sudden, like a sudden wind gust, secure the hell, Spawn. These angel warriors come down and launch an ambush attack in public. Jim tells Mark, "Grab your helmet, put it on, just do it." So Jim puts like a grip on Mark's arm and they need to get away from here. And moments later, like a green arrow bait, like blow, they materialize several miles away out of public view. And Jim's like, "Dude, there's something wrong. They normally don't attack where humans can see them." Well, the game has changed right now. And then this vicious attack goes out. Jim does his green laser beams. Mark, Medieval Spawn, he puts on the helmet, forms into Medieval Spawn, and slashes his angel's head off. Look at this stuff right here. Mark delivers a haymaker, blood, guts. They will not be the last. And Mark's, "I'm going to feast like a Medieval Spawn." The reason the forces of heaven and hell never launched or dare will launch a public attack, but old rules are coming undone, and the day of Spawn's enemies are beginning to realize they need to not hide in the shadows anymore. They're going to go at it in public. So as more angels come to attack Medieval Spawn and Jim puts his hand on Medieval Spawn and teleports him out the way. And Medieval Spawn's kind of pissed, like, "We don't have the fortitude for battle. Bring your own coward, boy. I'd rather fight my enemies and not run away for them." And Jim's like, "Then you are a fool. You're using Mark's body and I'm going to make sure he stays in one piece." And Medieval Spawn's like, "Okay, well, you know, you bear the mark of heaven and hell, so you're like some kind of abomination." Well, that's another story that Jim's going to explain later. So after some dialogue, and it's clear that Medieval Spawn sees Jim as an ally for now, and he has Mark's best interest at heart, he's like, "Okay, you're proving yourself useful today. Tomorrow is another test." So he forms back into Mark, and Mark asks, "Well, did Medieval Spawn say anything helpful?" I'm afraid not. He just disappeared. "But Mark, I need you to remember this. If it weren't for today, would Spawn be here to have you back? Would he even notice you're missing? I mean, I was there with that attack today. Ask yourself, if you had been captured, or if I hadn't been there, or you weren't able to get that helmet on time, would Al come to rescue? Crap, would he even notice you're gone? So think about what I said. We will be in touch." And this leaves Mark with something to think about. Now, 2 days has passed since the confrontation with the Vampire General Rebirth, and that's from the previous issue. You can check that review out, Spawn 323. And the question is, how far is Spawn willing to go to corrupt himself for that potential victory? Because even he's contemplating that he knows he needs to ally with some forces to win this war. And then his gold being appears, wing right spread. Hope you're grasping the severity of the situation we face. So Spawn launches a chain of chat. He deflects it. You need to preserve your strength. We will need it later. So Spawn's like, okay, what is it now? What are we doing here? He unveils himself, disarming himself, showing his face. Is like, and Rebirth is like, now there's a lot we need to discuss, Spawn. I mean, as far as the action, there's not a lot of action going on in here, and that's okay. The dialogue and the conversations were good. They were interesting. It pushed the story forward. I think this was a setup to like a Spawn team up. I forgot what that name of that comic is, with a Spawn team up that's going to come out in January. So I'm totally on board with it. And I think this is an awesome read, a fun read. Great storytelling. And also the art was damn well gangster as well. Link in description if you wish to add Spawn issue number 324 to your comic book collection. With that being said, Spawn issue number 324. What you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. And also if you like the content we're throwing up, you know what to do. Don't be shy and don't be stingy. Here at Rated Comics, we do awesome comic book reviews, comic book related content with the occasional comic book giveaway. Thanks again for watching. Until next time.